From the Digital Media Center on the campus of Southern Oregon University in Ashland, Oregon. This is Ramping Up Your English, an educational program for intermediate level English language learners. Here's your host for Ramping Up Your English, John Letts.
Welcome to Ramping Up Your English, winner of the Southern Oregon Television Award for Program of the Year and the award for the Best Educational Program. I'm the host and producer, John Letts. Ramping Up Your English is an educational support program for intermediate English learners. It's a program for people from all language backgrounds. Ramping Up Your English is also for people of all ages. If you've already passed the beginning stages of learning English and want to reach higher levels of proficiency, this program is designed to meet your needs. We take a content-based approach to helping you reach higher levels of English proficiency. Our current thematic unit is Animals. This is episode 66. Now, what is it that draws people to the beach? Well, there can be as many answers as there are people. Yet I've seen a mixture of wonder and playfulness in many that I've observed. For me, it's the way that all the senses are engaged. The awesome blue or gray of the water, the roaring sound that fills my ears, the salty taste of the spray as the waves crash. There's the feel of the cold water and the cool sand on my feet, and the exotic smell of ocean air. There's another thing too, the sense of mystery around what lives under the surface of that seemingly endless body of water. Now, I grew up in Louisiana, a short distance from the Gulf of Mexico. I remember the first time my dad took us out in his boat far enough from land that I couldn't see the shore in any direction. It was hard to get my mind around that there was only water with no land in sight. It's an impression I'll never forget. The greatest fun out there in those gray Gulf waters was to pull in a fish from below the surface. Through fishing and shrimp trawling, we discovered all kinds of living things coming up from those invisible depths. As an adult, I'm learning all kinds of things about ocean life, but as a child, I was just amazed at the great variety of things that live down there. In previous episodes, we've seen some Pacific Ocean life like the seals we see here and the flock of seagulls. We looked at adaptations the seals have for living and thriving in their cold water environment. We focused on the anatomy to learn their physical adaptations. Now today we're looking at ocean animals again, but the focus is on their behavior adaptations. In other words, what do some animals do to survive in their environment? Well, just as physical adaptations came about due to changes in the animal's environment, certain behaviors also changed in order to survive the changes faced by living organisms. Our species of marine mammal that survive by certain behaviors is the orca. Now, orca is a type of porpoise, but they're often called killer whales, though they're not whales at all. Orcas have a list of behaviors that have earned them the name of killer, but in that they're really no different from any other predators, they're just really successful at it. Orcas work together to hunt and attack prey. They've been known to work as a team to upset an iceberg that a seal is on, enough to have the seal fall in the water where it's easier prey. That coordinated behavior is a behavior adaptation. Now, this is a true whale. By the length of its sized petrels, fins that is, this can easily be identified as a humpback whale. Humpback whales have behavior adaptations that keep them surviving, both as individuals and as a group. Humpback whales migrate to a safe place to bear their young. Then they return to areas that are rich in their food source. Now, one physical adaptation is the baleen in their mouths that allow them to take in tons of krill along with the water in which they swim. A behavior adaptation is the way they swim in circles around krill or tiny fish, blowing bubbles from below to confuse and corral their prey into a tight mass. Then they come up from the depths with their huge mouths agape, taking in the tightly packed prey. They work together to do this. It's a behavior. It's a behavior that allows them to get the greatest amount of food with the small amount of energy expended. And that's the key to survival for any animal. Now, these behavior adaptations have been observed time and again by scientists known as marine biologists. They're not alone in observing the behavior of whales, however. One human activity that has supplanted or taken the place of hunting and killing whales is watching them. As you'll see, it's a lot less harmful practice in an age when products from whales have been replaced by other sources. Let's learn about these giant animals of the ocean and the experience of whale watching.
The excitement of spotting a whale has never changed, but today's whale hunter is more likely to be carrying a camera than a harpoon. Notwithstanding all the excitement, these are not really whales. They're orcas from the porpoise and dolphin family.
Okay, ask Denise
That doesn't reduce the enthusiasm of these whale watchers in the Whales+Sea Sea. After all, orcas are also called killer whales. Orcas are easy to distinguish from other marine mammals by their extremely tall dorsal fins. Dolphins, like these outside San Diego, are always exciting to see. But the excitement ramps up for whales.
Jackpot boats right next to us, left side, 9 o'clock.
These are fin whales, and we're watching them from a whale-watching boat. We're in the Pacific Ocean out of San Diego Bay. The finback whales frequent this area. In terms of whale watching, the trick is to look for the white plume of exhaled breath. Like all whales, finbacks hold their breath when diving, exhaling and then inhaling when they surface. It's common to do whale watching from a boat, but we had one of our best days of watching whales from a train. I shot this video from an Amtrak train called the Coast Starlight. We were on a siding allowing a freight train to pass, so our view of the whales included railings of the tank cars as they went by. Here in the Pacific Ocean, a pod of whales were putting on quite a show. This is on the migration route of gray whales, record holders for the longest seasonal migration between the Arctic Circle and Baja California in Mexico. These whales are flapping their pectoral fins, at least 2 whales, next to each other. Marine biologists haven't discovered yet why some whales do this. Finally, the freight train cleared our siding and the Coast Starlight started to move again. Now we got a clear, unobstructed view of the whales. It was just in time for me to videotape a whale breaching.
Oh, man.
That breaching whale could have been the grand finale, but the whales weren't finished yet. The tail of a whale is called its fluke, and there was plenty of fluke flapping here. To me, it looked like these whales were having a great time. The other passengers seemed to feel the same way.
Oh, man.
Now that the train was slowly moving back onto the main tracks, bridge supports and power lines would invite themselves into the view, but that didn't take away the joy of watching these frolicking whales. We were in a train car called the parlor car. It's a popular place for passengers to gather and enjoy an unforgettable ocean view. There's lots to enjoy here, but even the Amtrak crew had never seen anything like this. The thing is, you can't really expect this kind of whale watching from a train, not even the Coast Starlight. Your chances for spotting whales are much better on a boat, especially a small cruise boat, on Alaska's Inside Passage. Often, the first thing you see of whales is their fluke, which often goes up before the whale dives. Other times, it's the dorsal fin you see first, as the whale sinks quietly below the surface. Speaking of dorsal fins, can you tell by the dorsal fin what marine mammal this is? It's an orca, also known as a killer whale. Sometimes whales are out in the distance, and spotting them for binoculars or a camera usually means looking for their spout. If you can see that, you're usually rewarded by seeing more of the whale. In contrast to killer whales, humpback whales have very short dorsal fins. In Alaska, the nutrient-rich waters attract humpback whales from their rearing environment near Hawaii. They spend winter there and return to Alaska in the summer. Humpback whales travel in family groups called pods. Watercraft are not supposed to move into a space where a pod of whales are located, but there's nothing that prevents curious whales from drawing near a boat. That's how we came to see this whale splashing the water with its petrel fins. The boat's engine creates a noise, but if you listen carefully, you can hear the splash of the fin. You can even hear the whale exhale. This close encounter had all the passengers scanning the water, looking for more humpback whales. Sometimes, following that first black dot in the distance with your eyes or your camera pays off with numerous whales in view. Rarely, just leaving the camera pointed in one place allows you to see lots of the action. Humpback whales were once hunted almost to extinction. Restrictive laws and agreements between countries stopped that from happening. Since then, humpback whale populations have rebounded. So now we could marvel at this whale action in Alaska. We all know that whales are mammals, not fish. It's that fact that allows us the joy and excitement of seeing them. Whether from the coastal shore, a train, or a boat, we get to see them when they come up for air. Watching whales brings a connection with nature, the wonder of these huge animals. Whale watching makes me grateful for the protection they now enjoy.
You're watching Ramping Up Your English. This is segment 2 of episode 66. With a surfboard, land-dwelling humans can get an experience with nature in the ocean, an experience that's not available on land. Now, those first steps into the turbulent world may be a little awkward at first, but skill level improves, and that happens with experience and with learning. So when we look at what's been learned about whales, we can be in for some whale-sized surprises. Scientists who study the anatomy of whales and compare the fossils of whale ancestors have come to a shocking conclusion. The ancestors of whales once lived on land. That's right. Somewhere in the far distant past, large land animals took to living in the ocean and became today's species of whales. And there seems to be no end to the things that you can learn about whales. Let's see what some English learners in elementary school recall from their study of whales.
English language learners share what they're learning about whales in this video.
How does the mom feed the calf?
They drink milk. from the bottom.
They have to come up to the surface once in a while so they can catch a little breathe. Whales have to go up on the water to get some air because they're mammals. That some whales don't have teeth. They have that hair, but I forgot what it's called.
Baleen.
Baleen.
Now, what do the baleen whales eat?
Plankton and krill. Yeah.
That's right.
I know something about killer whales.
What? Tell me what.
Killer whales eat seals and other things like fish and that stuff.
Where's his mom?
Wait.
Whales go up to the surface to breathe. They can't breathe underwater. They have to go up somehow. Baby whales are born different from almost all other mammals.
This is the gray whale. It swims on its sides and it shakes its fin.
Here's this baby that drinks milk a
Baby
lot.
that drinks milk and stuff.
As soon as it reaches the surface, the baby starts to breathe. Later, it starts to take milk from its mother, or like all mammals do. The milk is very rich.
What does it do in Mexico?
It has babies.
That's his baby.
Has his babies like wait. Yeah,
Yeah,
this
like
is his baby right there. It's just newborn.
Chicken pox.
What do you know about whales?
Some whales, the great whales, they go to Mexico.
Great. Who else knows something about whales? Okay, go ahead.
Some whales stick together.
Great. What do you know, Daniel?
The blue whale is the biggest whale in Earth.
And hold it up so we can see it. There you go. Good job. Who else? Okay, Jahira.
Some whales hunt together.
Great. Anyone else want to say something about whales?
The gray whales swim to Alaska.
Okay, what did you learn yesterday?
The more blubber they have, the colder water they can go in.
Tell me what you know about humpback whales.
Well, humpback whales have two blowholes, one for breathing in old air and one for breathing into new air.
That blue whales can hold their breath up to 2 hours underwater and go really deep. Sperm whales go really deep, so to escape predators, and that a blue whale, when he gets his air through his blowhole, he goes all the way down deep to get his food.
Tell me about baleen.
Baleen, when they catch krill and the other plankton, when they catch krill and plankton, they catch water in their mouth too, and then when they let out the water out of their mouth, the shrimp and plankton get stuck to their baleen.
He can go really deep that the pressure's too hard, and for some whales they can't go that deep. The humpback whale sometimes travels thousands of miles just to find the best plankton or krill.
When the whales, they have babies, they come out and then they take the whales all the way to the top of the shore so that they could breathe some air for a couple of minutes, and then they go all the way back down to the ocean.
Whales are mammals, even though they look like fish, and they give live birth and they give milk.
The blue whales?
I know.
What do you know about blue whales?
Blue whales are the biggest whale. They are the biggest mammal in the world.
That every food chain has to start with a producer, and the one big producer in the sea is plankton.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I got 11 at the bottom. Whoa.
That can be right
Small fish
there.
right here.
Me, I got it.
I got it.
Then, that's what I say, I got it.
Got a crab, an orca, a clam.
I got small fish,
The
octopus,
orca right here. For what?
middle fish,
Except for the seal, because I don't have seal fish.
middle fish,
This middle fish right here. Of the food.
what?
No, actually,
Medium fish,
I don't think the sharks eat the
medium-sized fish.
I don't think the sharks eat
I got medium-sized fish.
Hey, pelican. What's the pelican? They eat small fish. It's a seal. Small fish. What do they eat? Horses. Yeah. What? No, wait. Get in the same spots that you were in yesterday. Then.
No.
Just let go. Just get in the same spots you were yesterday. Okay. I was right here. No, you weren't. You were. Said what? No, he was right here. I was right here. I remember that was scared right there, falling right there and cracking.
Ready, set, lean back. Okay, Abraham, let go.
I should explain that the last part was a demonstration of an ocean food web and the results of having part of that web disturbed. No children were hurt in the making of that video. You're watching Ramping Up Your English. This is segment 3 of episode 66. Whales have behaviors that help them survive in the oceans of the world. As you heard in the last video clip, different species of whales have different behaviors, and those behaviors combine with their physical adaptations to help them stay alive. But whales are not the only ocean animals to have behavior adaptations. By observing ocean life, marine biologists have discovered behaviors by many marine animals that help them get food, escape predators, or nurture their young. In the following video, see if you can learn some behavior adaptations that help marine animals survive and thrive in their ocean environment.
There's a lot more living in the sea than fish. These harbor seals are great swimmers, but they're mammals. Mammals that live in the sea are called marine mammals. These harbor seals are in Alaska. These are female seals with their pups. They're on these icebergs near a glacier to protect their young from predators. There are hundreds of them here. The pups grow up fast on mom's rich milk, 25% fat. These seals in California have no ice on which to lie, but these rocks in Monterey Bay do just fine for taking a break from the water. The black birds sharing the rock are called cormorants. Seals and cormorants seem to get along just fine with each other. Seals are examples of pinnipeds. They have no arms or legs, just flippers, which help them be excellent swimmers. These marine mammals are also pinnipeds. These are sea lions. Now they can make more of their flippers on land, using them somewhat like legs. What you're seeing is called a haul out, a place outside of the water where they gather. This haul out consists of huge male beach masters and young males. The young males practice playfully the skills they'll need if they're to become a beach master in the future, the alphas of their group. When sea lions rest, they form these rafts, floating together with their flippers pointed skyward. This raft is in Elkhorn Slough in California. Back in Alaska, a spout of water like this means whales. These are humpback whales. They travel from Hawaii to Alaska to gorge on the abundant krill and small fish they need to nourish themselves and their young. A group of whales is called a pod. This small pod is traveling in search of a meal, which they'll work together cooperatively to access. These horizontal tails that whales have are called flukes. Watch what happens next to this surfboarder. Looks like a little surprise from the depths. Another marine mammal is a sea otter. This mom sea otter is on an iceberg with her pup. Sea otters were once hunted almost to extinction for their fur. They need that fur for staying warm in cold water. Sea otters, whales, sea lions, and seals are all examples of marine mammals.
Did you see any examples of behavior adaptations? How about the harbor seals raising their pups on the iceberg? That's a behavior that results in the survival of the pups. The sea lions hauling out on the rocks is a behavior that results in the passing on of genes of the stronger males. All that rough play, that's to practice for the skills needed to be an alpha male beach master. Now, the sea otter's behavior in grooming is a vital behavior. With no blubber to protect them from the icy cold water, the sea otters depend on the extremely thick coat of fur to keep them warm. However, that pelt will only protect them if the fur is all in the right place, enough to keep the cold water from having contact with the skin. In our next episode, we'll look at some other animals and learn how their behavior adaptations help them survive. I'd love to hear from you and see how this is, how it's processing, how you're progressing, I guess is the word I really want, with this program. Send an email to letscreatepro@gmail.com. Visit my website at letscreate.org for all the support materials for this episode. Just navigate to the episode 66 page. You can watch and even download all episodes of Ramping Up Your English at archive.org/details/roguetv. Use the search box by entering Ramping Up Your English. You'll find all the episodes there. Ramping Up Your English can be seen in Ashland on Channel 15 on the Ashland Home Network and in the rest of Southern Oregon on Charter Cable, Channel 182. Showtimes are 8 a.m. on Mondays and 7:30 p.m. on Thursdays. Visit rvtv.sou.edu for free live streaming. Showtimes will vary with different areas. Check your local public access and education stations. I want to thank my director, Denise Ross, and my talented and loyal crew, and I want to thank you, our viewers. All of you helped to make this program an award winner. Join us next time for Ramping Up Your English. I'm John Letts.
You've been watching Ramping Up Your English, a support program for intermediate level English language learners. Learn more. Visit our website at letscreate.org. You can also watch or download today's program at archive.org/details/roguetv. Join us next time on RBTV Voices for Ramping Up Your English.